Welcome back to another episode of NBA Playoff Watch, and I just want to start this off by saying sorry for the little 2 week break I've taken. I've had a lot of schoolwork, finals, testing, but summer is right around the corner. My last day of school is Friday, so we're going to be getting back into the swing of things here. We're going to have baseball content very soon, probably a video this week, if not for sure next week. And then obviously football season will start ramping up NFL and college football content. But this video is going to be a little bit different. We usually do these videos in the regular season and look at the standings, but we are deep into the playoffs right now. We got the two conference finals matchups set here, the West and the East, and we're just going to kind of go ahead and recap the series that have happened so far, and then at the end we will have our conference finals predictions as well as our NBA champion prediction. And this is going to be a crazy conference finals to say the least. I mean, it's going to be the seventh straight year we've had a different champion. I mean, the parity the parity in the NBA this not even this year, just like recently, has been absolutely. I'm loving it. I mean, a lot of people are saying it's bad. I don't care. I love it. I love what we got in the East. Never would have expected that. We'll get to there, but so this is the bracket. We're gonna skip over the plan because that was just so long ago. So we're just gonna have the plan filled out. And yeah, so starting off, we're just gonna go chronologically, kind of how which series finished first. And the Thunder did end up sweeping the Grizzlies. Game 3 and 4 were pretty close, but we're gonna kind of skip over the less important ones. Just kind of touch on the broad stuff, and then as we get more recent, we'll talk more and more. But yeah, the Thunder swept the Grizzlies. Really wasn't much of a competition. The Grizzlies played decent. They're in their two home games, but the Thunder just dominated this series. The Cavs swept the Heat. It was the most lopsided series in NBA history. It was ridiculous. Yeah, the Cavs just dominated this series, even without Darius Garland, which I thought was very interesting. The Celtics beat the Magic in 5. Again, not really anything to talk about here, just total domination. The Magic actually played close in a couple games. They did end up winning one, but the Celtics took care of business here, even with Jaylen Brown, Tatum having some injuries. This was a little surprising. The Pacers beat the Bucks in 5. I think I had the Pacers winning the series in 6, but I was under the assumption that Dame would not come back for the series and would not play at all. He ends up coming back. Now we all know what happened. Tore his Achilles, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was Achilles. So that's very rough. Obviously, very sad for him. We've had a lot of injuries this playoffs, actually. But yeah, I wasn't expecting him to play at all in the series. He ends up coming back. It doesn't matter. Now it sounds like Giannis is going to leave this offseason, which I think is very interesting. Where will he go? Does he go to the Spurs, the Rockets? I've heard a lot of noise. We'll see if he ends up leaving. I'm very interested because that is going to be huge if he does. But the Pacers, since January 1st, have been one of the hottest teams. I think the hottest team in the NBA, and they carried it through the first round. And obviously we know what happened in the second round, but we'll get to that. But yeah, the Pacers played very well against the Bucks. They went in 5. Next series, the Timberwolves win in 5. I had the Lakers in my Western Conference Finals. I thought LeBron and Luka would just be enough here. I did think this series was maybe the closest or the hardest series to predict. I thought it was a shoo-in for at least 6 or 7 games. The Timberwolves won in 5 games. Anthony Edwards was absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, they just sucked the life out of the Lakers. There really wasn't. It was actually crazy how good the Timberwolves played in this series. They won in 5. The Knicks end up beating the Pistons, I believe, in 6. Game 6 was very close from what I remember, but Jalen Brunson ends up. I believe it was Brunson who hit the dagger in Game 6. Brunson has been on an absolute tear this playoff run. And yeah, but the Pistons, promising year. They took the Knicks to 6 games, and we all know where the Knicks may potentially. I mean, they're still alive. They could win it all. I mean, they could. And the fact that the Pistons, after last year, took this team to 6 games, I think that's a very promising sign. Definitely nothing to be ashamed about if you're a Pistons fan. But the Knicks end up moving on. That was a really fun series, though. A lot of those games were close. Then we got the 2 in the West that end up going to Game 7. The first series that finished was the Nuggets. Now, this series was actually very, very close. A lot of these games were very close. You had Kawhi and James Harden taking on Jokic and Jamal Murray. But in Game 7, the Nuggets blew them out. It was really disappointing. I was hoping for a really. I thought it was going to be a really close game. I actually picked the Clippers to win this series. But the Clippers end up getting blown out in Game 7. It was really disappointing, but the Nuggets end up moving on. And then down here, the Warriors were up 3-1, I believe. The Rockets came back to force a Game 7, but the Warriors did run away late in Game 7 and did end up taking care of business. I had the Warriors winning the series. So now we're done with the first round. I believe I had all of them in the East right, and then in the West I had the Clippers and the Lakers. But the other two I had right. So I was, 6 out of 8. It's not terrible. Definitely could be better, and we'll get to the conference finals because I was way off on this one. I only got one of the final four remaining teams right. So yeah, so let's start things off in the Pacers Cavs series. The Pacers end up winning in 5 games. Absolutely ridiculous. Did not see this coming. I know Garland was hurt. I know Mobley and DeAndre Hunter were also hurt for, I believe, Game 2. I think Donovan Mitchell was also hurt. I mean, Donovan Mitchell never missed a game, I believe, but I think he was dealing with something. They just had a buttload of injuries. Donovan Mitchell had like 50 points, and they lost in one of these games. I kind of knew it was over when the Pacers went into Cleveland and won the first 2 games of the series. Obviously, it wasn't over, but I figured the Pacers would end up winning that series. When they won Game 1, I thought, okay, it's not the end of the world. The Cavs were close in both these games. They were actually leading in both Game 1 and Game 2, I believe. And they kind of just collapsed at the end. And the Pacers end up winning in 5. Just crazy stuff. I mean, the Pacers, they made the conference finals last year as, I think, the 6 seed. Now they get back to the conference finals as the 4 seed. They get a rematch against the team they eliminated last year in the Eastern Conference semifinals, or the Eastern Conference second round. So that should be very interesting. But Tyrese Halliburton, ever since he's been called the most overrated player in the league, he's been absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, he's everything you could have said negative about him in the regular season. Oh, late in the games, he doesn't like to shoot. He's only a good passer. He has been an amazing scorer this playoff run. So good for him. The Pacers get to the conference finals. Let's move on to the next series, though. This one's not as interesting. The Timberwolves end up winning in 5. I thought this series would be longer than 5 games, but once Steph Curry went down with his injury, I think that was in Game 1. Once that happened, I knew it wasn't looking great for the Warriors. The Timberwolves already had the home court advantage. I mean, it wasn't a great sign once Curry went down, and I think they actually won a game without Curry. I think it was Game 2 they won. I want to make sure I get this right, so give me a second so I can find this. But I believe they won Game 2 without Curry. Or no, they won Game 1, but that was partially with Curry. I mean, they won Game 1 and then they lost the last 4 without him. Game 3, they almost had. They probably should have won Game 3. If they won Game 3 and went up 2-1, the Warriors, that is, that could have been very interesting. The series could have been a lot different. I still think the Timberwolves probably would have won, but a lot of these games were actually pretty close. The Timberwolves were just the better team here, especially without Curry. I mean, Jimmy Butler was not looking great. He wasn't shooting nearly enough shots. I mean, that's what everyone was talking about. He was really just a disaster in this series. Just when you have no Curry, you got to take more than 9 shots. I mean, it was bad. Kuminga was actually stepped up pretty well, and it's weird because Steve Kerr, he didn't play Kuminga really at all against the Rockets, but then when he got to the Timberwolves, he kind of had to, and Kuminga actually played very well. So I don't know what's going on with Kuminga. But yeah, the Timberwolves do end up moving on. Next series, was not expecting this. Now we'll get to the big thing here. The Knicks win in six. I thought the Celtics would, the Knicks against the Cavs and the Celtics. The Knicks were like what 1-10 in the regular season, something like that. They were bad against the good teams, and all of a sudden, come playoff time, Jalen Brunson just turns it on. Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, really the whole team. I mean, it was a crazy sight to see. Now it's kind of similar to the Warriors series where once Tatum went down, I knew the Celtics weren't going to win this series. I figured it wasn't a great sign that the Knicks end up winning the first two games of the series in Boston. Kind of the same thing with the Pacers. But then once Tatum went down, I was like, all right, that's the final blow. The Celtics still did take it to six, but they lost game one in overtime. After that, I was like, okay, it's not the end of the world. But then they lose by 1 point in game two. I mean, it's very similar to the Cavs Pacers, where they were winning both those games. They probably should have won. And then Mikal Bridges just, in both game one and two, just locks down. I think one of them was Tatum, and one game was Tatum, one game was Jaylen Brown, and he just locks him down, and they don't even get a shot up. It was crazy. The Knicks went up 2-0. Then we had Tatum getting hurt, and then it was kind of just wraps from there. The Knicks got up 3-1, and then they ended up closing it out in six in the Garden. And yeah, the Knicks move on to the Eastern Conference Finals, set up a rematch against the team that eliminated them from the playoffs last year in the Pacers. And I really was not expecting this. I thought the East was a shoo-in for Cavs, Celtics, Eastern Conference Finals, but here we are. The parity strikes again. The NBA playoffs is becoming more and more unpredictable. It used to be pretty predictable, but now, I mean, look at the conference finals. You got a 3 seed, a 4 seed, and a 6 seed. It is really crazy. I know the West is the Timberwolves aren't your typical 6 seed. I mean, they almost won 50 games, but still. And then the final series, the best series of probably the playoffs so far. The Thunder and Nuggets go to 7 games. It was very fun. The Nuggets went up 2-1. Then the Thunder won 2 in a row to go up 3-2. The Nuggets forced a game 7. There was buzzer beaters. There was, it felt like all these games were down to the wire. It was just a great series. One of the best series of recent memories, actually. This series was just amazing. I think there was like 2 overtime games. Maybe not. I think there was actually only one. But besides game 2, where the Thunder won by like 50 points, the rest of the series was down to the wire every single time. It was actually ridiculous how close all these games were. And then yesterday, we had game 7. And the Nuggets started off very well. They were up by 10 points in the first quarter. They looked like the more experienced team, which we knew coming in. I thought, okay, if this gets to a game 7, I'm a little worried for the Thunder just because they lack that experience, and the Nuggets have like the most game 7 experience of anyone. The Nuggets started off very well, and then, their coach takes out Jamal Murray, takes out Jokic for really, it was like 2 minutes, and the Thunder go on like a 14-0 run. They take the lead, and then they just never looked back. They end up winning by 30. Jamal Murray had a really bad game, 6 for 16. It didn't help that Michael Porter Jr. was dealing with a shoulder injury the whole series. Aaron Gordon obviously had the hamstring issue in Game 7. He ended up playing through it, so shout out to him. I was not expecting him to play. He puts up 8 points, 11 rebounds, but obviously he wasn't his full self. And yeah, Michael Porter Jr. with the shoulder, he didn't play a very good game in Game 7, only 6 points. Christian Braun did solid, though, 19 points. But yeah, I mean, Jamal Murray only 13. I mean, really, all the guys. Jokic didn't even have a crazy game for Jokic standards. He still had 29 and 7, but I don't know. The Thunder just, the defense, Caruso played a phenomenal game. SGA had 35. J-Dub had 24. I mean, he had a great game. Really, the entire Thunder team stepped it up. And this is, I don't know, this Thunder team, don't forget, people are quick to forget, they don't have any experience. They won 68 games in the regular season. This is a really good team. One of the best defenses of all time. I think the best defense of all time, numbers-wise. So yeah, the Thunder have a very good team. And they're going to set up a date with the Timberwolves, and we'll talk about this series. I think I'm not sure how many times these two teams have played in the regular season, but I know the Timberwolves won one of them. I know there was like a crazy comeback. This is going to be really fun. Anthony Edwards versus SGA. Two really good teams, honestly, and I'm glad the Timberwolves are here. They got to the conference finals last year. They're back, second year in a row. The Thunder finally break through to the conference finals, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna take the Thunder. I think it goes all 7 games, though. I really do. This Timberwolves team is going to be well rested. I wouldn't be shocked if they went out there tomorrow and won Game 1 in OKC. I really wouldn't. This team is really that good. They got through the Lakers and the Warriors both in 5 games. That is ridiculous. I think this Timberwolves team is very good. I think the Thunder go all 7 games again, but I do think they win. I think they're a little bit better, just all around depth wise, defensively. I think they get it done. They won 68 games. They only lost 14 games in the regular season for a reason. I think they get through to the NBA Finals. And then in the East, this is fun. Pacers Knicks. A lot of people aren't liking this. Would I would have rather seen the Cavs Celtics? If both were healthy, maybe. But the fact that, Garland's dealing with this thing, Evan Mobley was out of game, Donovan Mitchell I think was dealing with something, and then obviously for the Celtics, no Tatum, Porzingis was dealing with something, or I mean maybe he was just playing bad. I don't know. But I'm here for this. Knicks Pacers, Jalen Brunson versus Tyrese Halliburton, Karl Anthony Towns versus Pascal Siakam. I'm here for this. I'm excited for this one. I think this series honestly goes 6 or 7 games as well. I think these two conference finals matchups are going to be absolutely amazing. Um, and I think it's going to be really fun to see how the Knicks fans react because either way, either they're going to the NBA Finals or they're getting eliminated by the Pacers for the second year in a row. So either way, those fans are going to go absolutely crazy. I think they actually win and move on to the NBA Finals. It's going to be crazy. This series. I'm going to say the Knicks win in 7. I think both these series go to 7 games. The Pacers have been playing lights out. They are the hottest team in basketball. They have been playing amazing, but I do think the Knicks have enough. I think they have just too many wings. OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, I mean Josh Hart. They got so many guys in there. And then obviously you got, Cat and Jalen Brunson, who's been absolutely electric. I think they're the deeper team. I think they're better. I do worry about Thibodeau. But I think he gets to the NBA Finals. Although, I'm of the impression that whoever wins the Western Conference Finals is going to win the NBA Finals. I truly do believe that. So I'm going to take the Thunder. I know it's the boring pick. They're the 1 seed. And, you got the 3 seed, 4 seed, 6 seed. Nobody's going to like to see this, but I think it is the right pick. I picked the Thunder in the preseason to win the NBA Finals. I picked the Thunder in my playoff predictions a couple weeks ago to win the NBA Finals. Now I'm having the Thunder win again. I just think the Thunder have too much, man. They got one of the best, the best defense in the league, and maybe the best, honestly, probably the best offense left of these 4 teams. One of the best offenses in the league as well. You could argue they have the best player out of all the 4 teams left. SGA, he's going to win MVP. I really think the only other player you could argue is Ant, and I have the Thunder beating Ant just because I think the team is better. I don't think you can really argue, actually argue that Brunson is better than SGA. I know some Knicks fans will say that. He's not actually better than SGA. He is really clutch, but SGA is, at worst, like a top 5 player in the league. And he's going to win MVP. And it's not just SGA. This team is the deepest team in the league. They have so many guys. I think the Thunder do get it done against the Knicks. I think it goes 6 games, though. Both these teams kind of do lack finals experience, so I think that'll be interesting. But I think that will be in favor of the Thunder. So I think the Thunder win in 6. But I'm really excited for these conference finals, man. I think both these series do go 7 games. But I got the Thunder beating the Knicks in my NBA Finals, my kind of updated predictions here. But let me know who you have winning the NBA Finals. How are you thinking? How are you enjoying these playoffs so far? Are you liking it? Are you not liking the parity? I'm loving it. I think these playoffs have been amazing. And I'm very excited for the conference finals. Let me know who you got in both conferences and then who you got winning it all. But that is going to do it. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. We do not only NBA, we do college basketball, college football, NFL, and MLB when those seasons are going. Like I said, we're going to have an MLB video later this week, hopefully. So we'll see about that. And then football content is gonna be coming pretty soon here. Probably starting in like a month or so. So yeah, it's very exciting, and obviously we're in the middle of the baseball season. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the noties to make sure you don't miss whenever we post. But with all that being said, that is going to do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and thank you so much